Hello everyone, this is Lynn and welcome to my channel. Today's video is a little special as I'm doing my first creative collaboration with a bunch of wonderful ladies whom I've gotten to know on Instagram and YouTube. Please check them out and show them some love. You can find the links to their channels in the description below. This collab features a Take 5 art journal challenge where Kyra will randomly draw 5 prompts from her creative bucket, and yes, it is literally a little bucket, and we each have to create something using these 5 prompts. This round, the 5 prompts are: add black marker or pen, use wet into wet wash with watercolor, add music paper, use acrylic paint, add lines. These prompts are not in any particular order, so I won't be following the sequence as listed, but I'll be using all the relevant products. I'll speed up the rest of the video, otherwise it will take too long. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, first I will use some watercolor as a base layer. I am using my Moleskine sketchbook and the paper is not watercolor paper, but it handles most art mediums quite well. The watercolors I'm using are by Prima and I believe this is the Pastel Dream set. I start by applying plain water on the page with a brush and then pick up some color and dab it on. If I could do this part all over again, I would probably paint some flowers with this technique rather than just blobs of color. The reason why I'm starting with the wash first is because it will be quite difficult to do a wet into wet wash after sticking or applying stuff onto the pages. For example, if I had laid acrylic paints or distress stains first, the wet wash will lift off the color if applied on top. After applying the watercolor, I use my heat tool to speed up the drying process. For the add music paper part, I tore some origami paper I got from Daiso that had printed music notes on it. I sprayed the paper with a distress stain in tea dye that I had transferred to a small misting bottle. This gives it a tea-stained effect. I also crumpled the paper to add a bit more texture to it. After randomly sticking the paper down with some matte gel medium by Liquitex, I will just continue applying the matte gel to the rest of the page to prep the surface for the next layer. Now that I have a layer of watercolors down, I will then apply some acrylic paint on top. Since I had already used matte gel to prep the surface, it should enable the paints to blend better. Matte gel works similar to gesso as it allows the paints to move a bit more smoothly than just blending on a blank surface. It also helps seal the watercolor layer at the bottom. The acrylic paints I'm using are by Semco and I got them at Spotlight, which is an Australian crafting store, but there are several branches here in Malaysia. I also need to mention that I got these paints at a very discounted price and they were relatively cheap, but the quality is just as good as most acrylic paints I've used. I'm using a baby wipe to blend the paints in. But I won't suggest using baby wipes that are too wet or fresh out of the box because it will remove too much color. Instead, let the wipe dry off a little before using it. I only use 2 colors, otherwise the whole thing may end up being a bit too colorful and muddy looking. I thought the background still needed a bit of jazzing up and added some stenciling using a Tim Holtz stencil in Typo. I used a distress oxide in Vintage Photo to stencil it on. After that, I used a Prima stamp to stamp out some speckles in white. It doesn't really show up on camera, but you can see a hint of it in person. It's actually quite a nice effect. I also added some bronzy gold mist using a distress sprayer tool from Holtz. I love this thing. You can use it with most markers and it creates a spray or mist on your projects. You can even use it over stencils. The next thing I did was look through some magazine cutouts and I found an image of a person dressed up in a bunny costume. Okay, I know there's an actual furry community with a certain lifestyle out there, but I don't think this has anything to do with it because it came from a financial magazine, I swear. Anyway, the title was inspired by the image. Walk to the beat of your own music immediately came to mind. It shows individuality and bravery, and since I had a person dressed as a rabbit and music notes all over, I thought it was quite apt to have this title. I also used a Faber-Castell Pit Artist brush pen in sepia to outline and smudge the ink around the image. You can only smudge and move the ink around if you have a layer of matte gel medium on top. And while I was smudging, I accidentally removed some of the stenciling that I did with the Distress Oxide. I also added more music notes here and there with a rubber stamp using archival ink in coffee. So here's where you'll see me using a couple of rubber stamp sets to stamp out the title, Walk to the Beat of Your Own Music. Because the page is quite textured, I can't stamp very clear, although I had a piece of cardboard at the bottom to stabilize the surface. And I'm really sorry about the lighting in my video today because the sun was going in and out behind the clouds and the light was doing all sorts of crazy things. The last two prompts on the list were to add lines and use a black marker or pen, and I kind of did both simultaneously. I'm not sure if that's cheating, but anyway, I just drew a black outline to frame the pages and thought it looked quite finished. I didn't want to add any more stuff on top because it will never end. I did, however, add some Holtz small talk range of stickers with the phrases be brave, be you, and be amazed because, you know, bunny person. I am so addicted to tiny text stickers and love using them in my layouts. And so we're done! I hope you enjoyed this video and give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Please remember to check out my friends' projects with the links to their channels in the description and be sure to use the hashtag Take5Art if you'd like to join us, whether on YouTube or Instagram. Well, I hope you have a good day, and until the next time, take care and bye-bye!